Ever wished you could buy something online and like leave absolutely zero trace?
Yeah.
No digital paper trail, no record in some database somewhere.
Right.
Complete anonymity, like using cash in the real world.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a thought, right?
It is, yeah.
Kind of a digital disappearing act. Well,
Yeah.
you might be surprised to learn that this idea of anonymous electronic cash has been around for longer than you might think.
Really?
We're not talking Bitcoin here,
Okay.
but actual research from way back in 1996,
Wow.
a time when most people were still figuring out how to dial up to the internet.
It really shows you how forward-thinking some of these researchers were.
Right.
You shared this incredible declassified NSA report called How to Make a Mint, the Cryptography of Anonymous Electronic Cash. And it's honestly like peering into a crystal ball.
Yeah.
They were grappling with the exact privacy and security questions we still face today with digital currencies.
Okay, so we're diving deep into the world of anonymous electronic cash today,
Okay.
guided by this 1996 NSA report.
Right.
But before we get lost in the weeds of cryptography, let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What exactly are we talking about when we say electronic cash?
So think of it as the digital equivalent of the cash in your wallet.
Okay.
You want to be able to spend it without anyone tracking your every move.
Right.
And ideally, without anyone knowing it was you who made the purchase.
So like using cash at a store,
Exactly.
but online.
Yeah.
You hand over the cash, the cashier takes it.
Yeah.
No one's swiping cards or checking IDs.
Yeah.
But how do you make that work in the digital world?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it?
I mean, we all know how easy it is to copy digital files.
Sure.
What's stopping someone from just duplicating their digital cash and spending it over and over again?
Yeah, well, that's where cryptography comes in.
Okay.
This report dives into the nuts and bolts of how you can use things like digital signatures
Okay.
and one-way functions to make sure your digital cash is secure and can't just be forged or spent multiple times.
Okay, those sound like terms I vaguely remember from a computer science class I might have slept through.
Right, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Think of it this way. A digital signature is kind of like a fingerprint for a digital file.
Okay.
It's unique to the person who created it.
Right.
And it can be used to verify that the file hasn't been tampered with. And a one-way function is like a mathematical black box.
Okay.
You can put information in, but it's incredibly difficult to reverse the process and get the original information back out.
So digital fingerprints and black boxes.
Yeah,
Got it.
exactly.
But how do these tools help create anonymous digital cash?
So the report breaks down how these cryptographic tools can be used to create a system where you can withdraw digital cash, use it to make purchases,
Right.
and even deposit it back into an account,
Okay.
all while keeping your identity hidden.
So like having a secret digital wallet that nobody knows about but you.
Exactly.
Right.
And the report even talks about different ways to implement this.
Okay.
Some where you need to be online for every transaction,
Right.
and others where you can spend your digital cash offline, just like physical cash.
Offline, anonymous digital cash.
Yeah.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
It does, doesn't it?
And even back in 1996, they were thinking about this.
They were.
Oh.
The report lays out a theoretical system, and it's actually pretty clever.
Okay.
It uses a concept called blind signatures to make the whole process untraceable.
Blind signatures.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to have to explain this one like I'm 5.
Okay, so imagine you have a document you need signed,
Okay.
but you don't want the signer to know what's on the document.
Right.
So you put it in an envelope with a carbon copy sheet inside.
Okay.
You get the signer to sign the outside of the envelope. They're essentially signing it blind. Because of the carbon copy, their signature goes through to the document inside without them ever actually seeing it.
That's a pretty neat trick.
It is, yeah.
So how does that translate to digital cash?
So in this system, when you withdraw your digital cash, it's like you're putting it in that special envelope.
Okay.
The bank or whoever is issuing the digital cash signs the envelope, applying their blind signature
Right.
without ever seeing the actual digital cash inside.
So they're vouching for it.
Exactly.
Saying it's legit.
Yep.
But they have no idea what it is or who it belongs to.
Exactly. And that's the key to anonymity.
Okay.
Because they signed it blindly, they can't link that specific digital cash back to you later on.
Right.
It's like a secret handshake that only you and the person you're paying know about.
Okay. That's starting to make sense. Yeah. We've got the anonymity part down.
Yeah.
But what about security?
Yeah.
They must have considered that too, right?
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
dedicate a lot of the report to security and preventing things like double spending.
Right.
They knew that if this was going to work, it had to be as secure as traditional financial systems, if not more so.
So how did they propose to stop people from just copying their digital cash and using it to buy everything in sight?
That's where things get even more interesting. And we start to see the building blocks of what would become some pretty important cryptographic concepts.
You're going to leave us hanging on a cliffhanger like that.
Let's just say the plot thickens, and we'll dive into the specifics right after.
Stay tuned.
We're back, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this whole, like, blind signatures thing.
It's like something out of a spy movie.
Right.
Passing these messages back and forth without ever revealing your identity.
It is pretty slick.
Yeah.
But as you can imagine, even with blind signatures,
Yeah.
building a system that's both anonymous and secure
Right.
is no easy feat.
Right.
The NSA researchers knew that this wasn't like a problem with one simple solution.
Right.
They actually explored
Mm-hmm.
a whole bunch of different cryptographic approaches.
So they were brainstorming ways to make sure no one could cheat the system, even with these invisible digital coins.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one of the key challenges they highlighted was this idea of double spending.
Right.
Think about it. If you have a digital coin
Yeah.
and it's designed to be untraceable,
Mm-hmm.
what's stopping you from making a copy of it and spending it twice?
Yep.
It's like that old trick of trying to pay for something with a photocopy of a dollar bill.
Right. Yeah.
It might work once if someone's not paying attention,
Yeah.
but eventually you're going to get caught.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you prevent that in the digital world?
Right.
Especially if you want to keep things anonymous.
Exactly.
It feels like you're walking a tightrope.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act.
Yeah.
The report goes deep into a bunch of different techniques,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the most intriguing is something called the cut and choose method.
Cut and choose.
Yeah.
It sounds more like a game show than cryptography.
It kind of is.
Right.
Imagine you have 10 coins
Okay.
and you want to prove to someone that they're all real
Mm-hmm.
without letting them actually see all of them. So you let them cut the pile,
Yeah.
picking a few coins at random to inspect.
Okay.
If the ones that they pick are real,
Yeah.
they can be more confident that the rest are too,
Right.
even though they haven't seen them all.
So it was like a spot check,
Exactly.
but with digital coins.
Exactly. In the digital world, this involves some fancy math to create a bunch of shadow coins.
Okay.
Basically digital decoys.
Okay.
When you make a purchase, the system randomly chooses one of those shadow coins to reveal,
Mm-hmm.
proving that you're not trying to double spend.
That's clever.
Yeah.
So even if someone tries to be sneaky, the system has a way of catching them.
Yeah.
But what about all those other cryptographic approaches they mentioned?
Right.
Things like zero-knowledge proofs and those RSA and Schnorr algorithms.
Yeah, you don't need to be a cryptography expert to understand the gist of it.
Right.
The important thing is that they all boil down to
Yeah.
finding clever ways to prove that a transaction is legitimate
Right.
without revealing the identity of the person making it.
So it's like being able to verify that a message is authentic without actually knowing who sent it.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about adding layers of trust and security to a system that's designed to be private and anonymous.
Okay, so they tackled anonymity
Yes.
and security.
Security, yeah.
What else did these researchers think was important for making digital cash a reality?
They dove into some other features we often take for granted with physical cash, things like transferability
Okay.
and divisibility.
Transferability meaning being able to give that digital cash to someone else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like if you wanted to buy something from a friend
Right.
or send money to a family member,
Yeah.
it sounds simple,
Yeah.
but when you're dealing with digital coins that are designed to be untraceable,
Right.
it gets surprisingly tricky.
Because if I give my anonymous digital cash to you and you give it to someone else,
Yeah.
how do we make sure that original coin can't be traced back to me?
That's the challenge. The report actually outlines a few different ways to address this.
Oh.
One idea involves using something called a chaining mechanism.
Okay.
It's kind of like a relay race
Mm-hmm.
where each person who holds the digital coin adds their own secret mark to it
Right.
before passing it on.
So it's like a digital version of those dollar bills people sometimes write on to track where they've been.
Exactly. And these marks are designed in a way that they can't be easily removed
Right.
or tampered with.
Okay.
So while the coin itself remains anonymous,
Yeah.
if someone tries to double spend it,
Yeah.
the system can retrace its path and figure out who broke the rules.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But what about divisibility?
Right.
What if you don't want to spend an entire digital coin at once?
Yeah.
Like if it's the digital equivalent of a $100 bill,
Right.
but you only want to buy a $10 book.
That's where it gets even more interesting.
Okay.
And to explain it,
Yeah.
we need to venture into the world of binary trees.
Binary trees.
Yes.
Now you're just messing with me, right? Binary trees. I haven't heard that term since my computer science days.
Right.
And let's just say those are a bit of a blur. Yeah.
So imagine a coin as a pizza.
Okay.
And you want to be able to pay for things in slices, not just the whole pie.
Yeah.
That's essentially what divisibility is all about in the context of digital cash.
Okay, now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
So how does this pizza coin get divided up?
That's where the binary tree comes in.
Okay.
It's like slicing the pizza in half,
Okay.
and then each half in half again, and
Yeah.
so on.
Yeah.
You end up with smaller and smaller slices,
Yeah.
each representing a fraction of the whole coin.
So instead of making change, you're basically handing over specific slices of your digital pizza.
To make up the exact amount.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the beauty of the binary tree is that it allows for
Yeah.
efficient and secure divisibility.
You can combine different slices to make up any amount you need, and the system can track those slices
Right.
to prevent double spending.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
These researchers really thought of everything,
They did.
but they didn't just focus on making the system work.
Right.
They also dove into the potential downsides, right?
They did, yeah.
Like, even with all of these, like, clever safeguards in place, what could go wrong?
Yeah. So they dedicated a whole section to security concerns.
Right.
And remember, this is the NSA we're talking about.
Right.
So they know a thing or two about security.
Yeah.
They were particularly worried about what would happen if someone managed to break the underlying cryptography,
Right.
or if a bank's secret key was compromised.
Yeah, that makes sense. It wouldn't matter how clever your system is if someone could just hack in and create their own digital cash out of thin air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because of the anonymity built into the system, it would be incredibly difficult to track down counterfeit coins or to figure out where things went wrong.
It's like trying to solve a robbery.
Right.
When you can't see who took the money or where they went.
Exactly.
A real head scratcher.
It is, yeah.
So how did they propose to address that?
Well, they explored a few different ideas.
Okay.
One intriguing concept was this idea of
Yeah.
wallet observer.
Wallet.
Reverse.
Okay.
Imagine having a separate
Yeah.
tamper-resistant device
Okay.
that sits inside your digital wallet,
Okay.
almost like an independent auditor.
So kind of like a security guard for
Exactly.
your digital cash.
Exactly.
Right.
This wallet observer would keep a record of your transactions
Right.
and could potentially detect if you tried to double spend a coin.
Right.
And if there was ever a need to trace a transaction,
Yeah.
say for law enforcement purposes,
Yeah.
the wallet observer could provide that information.
So a bit of a compromise.
Right. Yeah.
You gain some added security and accountability,
Yeah,
but you potentially sacrifice some anonymity in the process.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
that age-old trade-off between privacy and security
Right.
rearing its head again.
Yeah. It's a theme that runs throughout this entire report.
Absolutely.
And it's something that we still grapple with today,
Right.
even with modern cryptocurrencies.
Right.
How do we balance that desire for financial privacy
Yeah.
with the need to prevent criminal activity?
It's a tough question
It is.
with no easy answers.
Yes.
But what's amazing is that these researchers were already wrestling with these dilemmas back in 1996.
Yeah.
Long before most people had even heard of the internet.
It really makes you appreciate their foresight,
It does.
that they were thinking about the implications of this technology long before it became a reality.
Yeah.
And here we are today, still grappling with the same fundamental questions.
Right.
This NSA report,
Yeah.
it wasn't just a blueprint for anonymous electronic cash.
Right.
It was a glimpse into the future of finance and the challenges of balancing privacy and security in a digital world.
Yeah, fascinating thought, isn't it?
It really is. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the future of digital currencies. Will we find a way to have it all?
Right.
Anonymity and security,
Yeah.
privacy and accountability?
Exactly.
Or are these trade-offs we'll always be navigating as we venture further into the digital frontier?
Right.
Whatever the future holds, one thing's for sure. The quest for the perfect digital cash is far from over.